Let me start the recording. All right, I've hit the record button. We can go ahead and get started with another Option Profit Formula Q&A call here. We're going to introduce, for those who don't know us, you should know us by now. If not, Peter and I, Peter is the co-host. We're both hosting this call. We're both co-hosts, two hosts of this call. Peter's my co-trainer. He is the go-to person in the members area for you. I am his backup. That is by design, not because I don't care about you, just because I recognize that tact is not my strength. I'm a very blunt, straightforward person. Peter's more encouraging. So he's there to help and assist you answer questions, and he has a heart for serving and helping people. As a matter of fact, I just got an email from him before the call, and he was saying that trading and helping others is one of the most rewarding things he's ever done. I was like, exactly, same here. And that's also why he's a co-trainer. I needed someone not just with the technical knowledge of options, but also someone who had a heart of service. And I think you all can gather that just from how he's helped you in the members area. Next, we will move on with our standard disclaimers here. I just put these in here to help the editing process when we do these videos. So we are required by law to tell you that, hey, everything we're showing you is not investment advice. You know, it's kind of just for informational, educational purposes only, because we're not licensed financial advisors, at least not right now. So just please keep that in mind. Our agenda for tonight, we're going to do this for those who usually attend the calls. This is going to be a little bit of a different call tonight. Each call is different, but sometimes I take a lot of time teaching or answering questions. This one is going to be a little bit different because I want to spend some time interviewing a student. You all can feel free to ask questions too. Peter and I will kind of jump on, just let him share his story. Now, I want to start off with these two quotes. One is going to lead into our success interview here. The first one is, if you really want something bad enough, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse, which I have found to be true. People say they want to trade options. They want to achieve financial freedom. They want all these things, but they come up with excuse after excuse as to why they can't buckle down and get through the training or do what it needs to do what's necessary in order to succeed. So if you really want something, results don't lie. You'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Or another quote, another variation, somebody said, when you use the excuse of, I don't have enough time, this lady was like, no, that's not true. Everybody has the same 24 hours. What that means is that's just not a priority for you right now. And that's not good or bad. It's just the truth. If you say you don't have enough time to do something, it just means that whatever that is just not a high enough priority for you right now. Second quote, which will lead into our success interview, is I got an email from a student, and part of this was one of the oldie but goodie quotes I used to say, I haven't said it in a while, is that you will become a better trader when you become a better person. And with that, I want to invite Rick. Let me know if you go by Rick. If that's, I think your name is Henrik, if we pronounce that correctly, but I think you go by Rick. Let us know when we unmute you, and I will unmute you now. And he did give me a warning that he's watching his kids, so if we get some background noise, just give him some kind of grace. It's no big deal for us, but we just are excited to talk to you, Rick. So, Rick, can you type into the chat panel if you're ready to be unmuted? And then me and Peter, you can take the lead here and ask whatever questions you want. I'll start it off by sharing just snippets of an email he sent to guide the conversation. And after that, Rick, you can take it. Just share what's on your heart, and we'll go from there. Peter, you can ask any questions that come up, and as anybody else, if you have a question, just type it into the chat panel, and we will ask Rick. All right, great. He's ready. So let me unmute you here. All right, Rick, welcome to the call.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you perfectly. Audio is awesome and crisp. Thanks. That's good.
Fantastic. And yes, you pronounced my name correctly. My legal name is Henrik, but Rick is my nickname.
All right, great. So again, we thank you for your time. We are completely honored. And I told Rick by email, his email was encouraging to me. So I wanted to start off with your fear, the fear you had about trading credit spreads, unless you wanted to start on another note. Just let me know if you're okay starting there.
No, let's go ahead.
Okay. So Rick has sent me an email telling me his biggest fear was when trading credit spreads was the risk of assignment. And just recently, his biggest fear happened. He was assigned. So go ahead and take us through that, like what happened, and also how your mindset shifted from fear to something else. So the floor is yours.
Sure. So the majority of success that I've had with trading options is just buying and reselling calls and puts, just simple strategy. I tried doing the credit spreads from time to time, had a little bit of success with it. Most of them ended up as losses. With the extra volatility in the market the past several weeks, I felt that doing the simple strategies just it wasn't working for me at all. I was timing it exactly wrong each time. And I was up maybe 45% for the year at the end of January. And as of today, I think I'm up like 10% for the year. So I've lost quite a bit in the past few weeks. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, since the volatility was up, I felt that maybe doing a credit spread would work better. So I put one credit spread on the SPY, and it would, we always put in the trade plan. What do we do if things go extremely well? If they go well, what do you do if it goes badly? And what if you do if it goes extremely badly? Mm-hmm. And this one, just the market went against me almost immediately. It was like I had a day or two where things were looking good, and then it went against me on this one. So the last week, the market went down significantly, and I was basically at the point where this position was worthless, and it expires. I think I told you it expired this week. It's actually next week is when it expired.
Okay.
The thing that you had talked about facing your biggest fear, right? And the thing that I always thought about with these credit spreads, or any time where there's a short position, is what happens if you get assigned. And it was just unknown. I don't know what happens. I've heard you talk about it from time to time and talk about it like it's not really all that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know how things would go if that happens. So Saturday morning, woke up, took a quick look at my phone and saw a notification from my broker. We want to let you know that your account ending in so on and so forth has been assigned the following position, 9 SPY puts for 274 was the strike price. So that means I just bought 900 shares of SPY at $274 a share.
Wow.
On an account that had nowhere near that amount of money. This position, and you can do some math and try to figure it out, but, I'm following the 210 formula, was either I was going to profit $460 or lose $520.
Yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden, I'm buying $220,000 worth of shares in SPY. Okay, so gut reaction was just fear, a whole lot of fear. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! What am I going to do? And then of course, came to my senses. Said, oh, hold on, I got a trade plan, right? Mm-hmm. Trade plan. What do I do if things go very well? If they go well, if they go poorly, if they go very poorly. And every time I would do one of these credit spreads, I had written in the trade plan, if assigned, call the broker. So that's what Travis always said in every one of the trainings that was mentioned, the live calls, that sort of a thing. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, that's what I'll do. That softened my fear to, instead of being very afraid, just a little afraid. But the thing is, this has already happened, right? So at that point, then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of curious. What is this going to be like, right? Again, Travis had talked about it like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
right? I'm not going to lose any more money than I've already lost, right? It's a limited risk trade. Maybe a little bit more on commissions or assignment fees, or the worst that would happen is I could take 9 of my long puts that were in that spread and exercise them to sell the shares, that sort of a thing. So then, I still had the tension from the fear, but as I got to thinking, this is my first time dealing with this. I get to learn something new, and more importantly, I no longer have to be irrationally afraid of assignment, right? Because it won't be an unknown anymore. I get to learn something new. So I started to get excited about it, which of course, before I called my broker, I got over on my computer and I typed up an email over to Travis just saying, hey, listen, this is how this went down for me. I went through these emotions that morning, right?
Yeah.
And the quote that you had put up earlier, where you were talking about if you become a better person, then you'll be a better trader. And then you had, it was about a year ago, or maybe it was just in one of the trainings where you had a list of books, recommended books. And my birthday's in the middle of June. My wife's always asking me, what can I get you for your birthday? And I was like, you know what? I don't need anything. And literally mean that, if you get me nothing for my birthday, I'm cool with that. Right? But this time I was like, you know what? Because it was about May or so when I saw that list of books. I was like, here's a list of books. Just give me one or two of those. And she gets to all of them.
Wow.
The whole list. I'm like, okay, you didn't have to do that, but
have you read them all?
No, I have not read them all. In fact, my birthday's in the middle of June, right? And it was the end of July. It was at my daughter's birthday party. We took some family and went to the city pool, and I didn't get in the water. I took my book with me. I decided the first one, I just thought this one sounds interesting, was The Slight Edge by Jeff Wilson.
Yes.
And I started reading that at the pool, and it was about an hour that we were there, and I blew through 4 chapters on it. It's like, oh my goodness, I was in a position, in a state where I was ready to receive the message from that book.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, all right, tomorrow morning, I'm going to start implementing this stuff. So that the next morning, I was on the treadmill. The major message of that book is to do the things that are easy to do, right? So I didn't get on my treadmill and, start going 10 miles an hour, and that sort of a thing. So I started slow and not for very long. Got my 10-pound weights out and started weightlifting and then added a little bit each day. And then I started working on other areas of my life. So I started working on me first so that I'd have more energy to work on the other areas of my life. Working on career, working on the relationship with the kids, working on my marriage. And I'm at a position now where I've lost 25 pounds. I am able to lift as much weight and the same number of repetitions as many years ago when I was at the strongest that I'd been. And then same speed and incline and all that on the treadmill. Exercise every morning. I got a promotion at work that is effective on Monday.
Congrats.
And thank you. Relationship with the kids is incredibly better. Just setting the tone in the household is, the tone is so much better. It says I don't come home from work tired. I come home from work and I've got energy to give energy to the household. When we sit down for a family dinner, I do a celebration. Come up with something to celebrate.
Yeah.
And our family dinner on Sunday, we celebrated new experiences. And I tried to explain this story of being assigned some options. That didn't go over so well. So I was like, "But new experiences, this is something that I was afraid of. It's a new experience. I don't have to be afraid of it anymore." Yeah, that sort of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then another thing that I do. So I haven't finished all of the books, but I did finish that one. I started reading some of the Tony Robbins books, and when I'm on that treadmill every morning, I've got a YouTube video of Tony Robbins playing. So I watch Tony Robbins every day when I exercise.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
So all that being said, to bring that back to the options trading, so being in a position where I've got more energy, I've got more emotional intelligence, the emotional IQ, or whatever that's called, I was able to take myself from a position of being really, really afraid to a position of being excited that this thing that I've been afraid of happened. So being a better person than I was a year ago or 9 months ago really, really helped in this case. So to follow up on that story, I did end up calling the broker. They suggested just sell the shares and close out the remaining positions in the credit spread. And Monday morning, that's what I did. The market opened, and within 5 minutes of the market opening, I closed everything out in that position. And the market actually went up over the weekend from Friday to Monday. And instead of losing $520, I figured it up, and with commissions, I lost $291 on that position. So I actually did better than I thought I would.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that is awesome. I'm over here like, that is so awesome.
I have a question for you, Rick, if you don't mind.
Oh, please.
So how much time was left in your credit spread when you got assigned? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was almost 2 weeks.
Okay. And how far in the money was your credit spread when you got assigned?
Let's see, it was at 274. So it would have been last Friday, whatever SPY was at last Friday.
I don't want to get caught in math, but yeah, we could do it.
I mean, it was quite a ways in the money.
It was pretty deep in the money when you got assigned.
Yeah, it sure was.
But the way you exited the trade is you sold the shares and then you sold the puts. So you didn't exercise your puts.
That is correct. I did not exercise the puts.
Which sounds like, because the puts would have been making money for you.
That must be the reason why I didn't lose as much. Because I sold the shares and then I sold the puts, and then I had one more, because I was assigned 9 on a position that was 10. 10 credit spreads, or 10 of each, and then I just closed that one remaining spread.
Oh, okay.
So it was 3 closing orders to get the whole thing closed out.
And how many credit spread trades had you traded prior to this being assigned?
Oh, let's see. Since starting with the Success Academy, which was in April, I've done less than 10. The year before that, I did probably 20 on a trade alert service that I don't recommend.
Yeah, we don't recommend trade alert services either.
Yeah, no comment there.
Well, it just doesn't put you in a position of knowing. You're always waiting for someone to tell you what to do. That's the downside with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, so this guy was great. I'm not even going to say who it is, but this guy was great about when to open and how to open it. Never gave a trade plan though. And then whenever it came to time to close it, and he would send a closing one, and say, if you haven't closed already, then close. Wait, what do you mean? If you never said the trade plan was wait for you to tell me what to do. Yeah. So yeah. Anyhow.
Now, how often, so you said in the beginning that you've been trading mostly calls and puts.
Mhm.
So how long were you trading calls and puts before you started doing credit spreads?
Well, so I started out with just calls and puts. I did a year and a half of paper trading, and then it was in February of 16 that I started doing the straight calls and puts. And then I found this trade alert service that did the spreads, I want to say March, April of 16, something like that. So I started trading the spreads on that service.
Okay.
So I actually, so I took Travis's mini course that was on Udemy back in, let's see, it was 2014.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a while ago.
Yeah.
And that, right. So the mini course was just about, calls and puts, buying and reselling. There wasn't anything in there about the credit spreads. So that's what I was doing, was just doing those paper trading. And then I got in this trade alert service because I didn't have enough capital to join the Success Academy at that point. And this was a less expensive one, and it said that it was going to be, educational as well. And it really was not. It really was just a trade alert service. And my experience with that was very, very bad. I ended up for 2016 being down a soul-crushing 51% for the year, which, what that means when, having to make that up, that's over 100% to have to get back to break even.
Yeah.
So of course, 2017 came along, and I got a pretty good sized bonus at work. I said, well, I know what I'm doing with this. And so I joined the, Success Academy, and since, especially, with the Success Academy 2.0 focusing mostly on credit spreads, I did try to do some more, but having that experience where some of them went, and then the ones that went bad were the far out of the money credit spreads. So it was, like a 5-to-1 ratio.
Oh, yeah, that hurts.
And I had 4 of them on at once that all 4 went bad.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was pretty rough. So getting to the point where I'm comfortable doing credit spreads at the money, a little bit in the money credit spreads, which I'm a lot more comfortable with those than I am with those out of the money ones. But it took me a while to get to where I'm comfortable with them. But even so, I still had this fear of the unknown. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to be assigned? I mean, I know in my head it means I'm buying some stock, but what do I do with that? I closed the position on Monday, and then in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I got a notification from the broker, T-margin call. That means you have to, immediate action required. You have to deposit $110,000 in your account. Okay. Now I figured it was just an automated message from the morning, but yeah, I called them just to make sure we're all good, and they're like, "Yeah, you're all good."
Yeah, that would freak me out.
But that was a pretty scary number there. But you know what? If it happens again, I know what it means.
Yep.
That's the fear of the unknown is always the hardest thing. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. And no matter how many times I say it, yeah, I've just accepted the fact. I can tell you not to worry about it, but you're still going to worry about it. So I have a question. Now that you've gone through that, I mean, it's something lately I've noticed and people really struggle with, that fear of assignment, even closing trades prematurely just because they don't want to get assigned. So now that you've gone through all of this, the fear, unwinding it, what would you tell that person who still has that fear now that you're on the other side?
Wow, what would I tell? So telling myself, like, and I know what it's like. It's, it really isn't that bad. I mean, even if it had gone the other way and I'd lost a little bit more than the maximum loss on if it had just been the spread, it really isn't that big of a deal. I mean, it is, you call in your broker, or, I mean, really, I don't even know that if the next time this happens, which I'm sure there will be a next time, I'm not planning on stopping doing this. I don't even know that I'll call my broker. I'll probably just, on the next opportunity, just close out the position, because now I know what to do.
Yeah, and I'm glad you took that advice for various reasons. You get to see your broker's customer service, how patient they are to work with you through that. And then two, I don't know, for some reason it seems easier for them to tell you than to me. And it's their platform anyway. So if you need any other assistance with the trade, even that like that $100,000 email, like I have no authority to tell you, oh, ignore it, because I'm like, well, I'm not the one sending that. So I'm like, yeah, definitely call your broker, because even when you get that email, they can be like, nah, ignore it. You've already unwound the trade, versus me saying, oh, ignore it, and you really shouldn't have ignored it, So I'm glad you did call the broker when it's all said and done, if that made sense.
Oh, me too, right? Because, like I said, I didn't know. And actually, I do have one more question that I'm going to contact the broker about that I'm curious about, is what would have happened had I taken no action? Let's just say, for instance, I have a position on and something happens that I cannot, for some reason, take action. Let's just say, I got into a car accident and I died, right? On Friday night, that happened, and then this happens, and they're sending these notifications, and my wife, she doesn't do anything with these option accounts. It's me that's doing it. What does it mean for her, right? Which I think is the broker has the authority with the margin account to liquidate those shares, but I just wanted to know, specifically what would happen in that particular case. So I am going to ask the broker that question.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at that. I'd never even thought of that. What if something went wrong and, I died? My wife would be like, "What the heck is this?" Sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's right. Yeah. We have editing software.
Sorry.
But yeah, that is excellent.
Definitely. Yeah. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Travis. No. Go for it.
No, I wasn't going to say anything important. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I agree with you. That is an excellent question. If you don't mind, can you just email us, let us know what the broker says, so that way we can add it to our training material, because I've never taken it that far too. I've already taken it, what if I can't, I'm on vacation or something, but I have an idea what the broker will do, but I'm curious if you tell them. Well, I never thought about if I never can get back to my computer, like if I died or something. So I still think I have an idea what they're going to say, but yeah, let me know if you don't mind what they say.
Absolutely. That was my plan anyway.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. And Sherry says, awesome, Rick. She was giving you some compliments a while back. We just never had a chance to let you know. So,
thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. This has been amazing. I've actually enjoyed listening to you, Sharon. You literally touched on all the points I wanted to touch on anyway. Peter, do you have any other questions, or even anybody else? Do you all want to ask Rick any questions while we have him here? Do you have some more time, Rick?
Oh, I've got plenty of time. No worries.
Okay, great. Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, I don't have any more questions, because that was I know in the members area, I always will answer questions about being assigned, and I can only tell people that I can't give them firsthand experience like you can, Rick, and Travis can. I just go based off of the faith that I put in Travis's program, and he's gone through it. So, and now you've gone through it. So I guess I've probably had the same fears every other student has had, but I didn't let it affect my trade plan when it goes badly. Like, I have 3 trades right now that are way in the money, but I'm not going to close them out just because I'm fearing assignment, because I especially hearing what you went through, Rick. That's awesome to know that. Just another example of, hey, it's really not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
And I agree. I would not close a trade for fear of assignment. I mean, I didn't close this one for fear of assignment, and it did happen.
Yeah. It seems like SPY is the one that assigns, huh? Because is that what you had, Travis, SPY?
Yeah, the other one I had SPY and BIBU. SPY, you will get assigned more. It's just so much, because so many people trade it, and it has less extrinsic or time value than other stocks you'll find. So yeah, that one is usually you get a higher risk of assignment than some stock that hardly any other people are trading. So, yep, I was assigned 2 stocks this week, and I've recorded it. I'll touch on that later. But yeah, one last thing before I forget. Rick said it's not that bad. That's true, but I have to put this caveat in there. It's not that bad if you do what Rick did. When you try to get creative, like I did last year with Facebook, it can get really ugly. Like when you try to alter your trade plan, like, well, I got a sign, I might as well keep the stock down and sell cover calls on it, or let me see if I can squeeze out some more money on these long puts I bought. And that's when it can get really, really ugly. And, you know, like Rick said, he bought $200 and some thousand worth of shares. You have to remember that, okay, that's going to be $200 and something thousand worth of long put risk too. So yeah, you could try to squeeze out some extra money on the trade, but I've seen it get ugly really, really quick when you try to get creative. So the caveat there is, yeah, assignment is no big deal if you unwind the position like Rick did, or you close out everything like Rick did. When you get creative and you start changing things, selling cover calls, that's when it can get ugly. And I know because I've done that. So that's why you never hear me say, oh, that's not a big deal. Yo, that is a big deal. So, but I don't.
I'd like to add to that, right, that, you know, just have the risk of assignment as part of the trade plan when you open the trade, right? Because you don't change your trade plan once the trade is open, right? You act out the trade plan, and then if you find that things didn't go the way that you like, or, you know, there's something that you would have liked to change, you just change it for your next trade, right? For example, the last 2 emails that you sent out, Travis, I had opened up a couple of positions, you know, some calls, just bought some calls, and then I think it was the next day you sent out, hey, now is the time to be fearful. I was like, well, great. And then you sent up a follow-up to that one, which I really appreciate, by the way, because I was seeing these indicators that say, hey, now is the time to be bullish, and then get the email the next day saying, no, be fearful. I wanted to know, all right, what is it that you're seeing that I'm not? And then you sent the follow-up where you did say what it was you were seeing, that it was the volume on the down days was greater than the volume on the up days. Fantastic. I'm very glad to know that. But anyhow, I did not have in my trade plan close the positions if Travis sends an email saying be fearful. So those positions stayed open. And yeah, I lost a little bit more money on them, but I did not change the trade plan based on receiving an email.
That's good.
Yeah, I was going to say that's good. You shouldn't, right, Travis? You would agree, right?
Yeah, I would agree. O'Quillan here asks, and again, if I mispronounce it wrong, let me know. O'Quillan asks a question here, Rick. He wanted to know what's your chart duration that you normally use when performing your chart analysis in Thinkorswim. Is this for me or Rick? Well, let's just keep it Rick. Rick, what's your chart duration that you normally use when you do your chart analysis?
Actually, what I will use is Market Club, the trade triangles and Market Club more than anything else. But when opening positions, I will look at the 6-month 1-day chart. Usually is what I'll look at. Sometimes the 1-year 1-day chart. And then when I have the positions open, I have a 3-day 5-minute chart that I'm just looking to see how things are going. which I know I shouldn't look at it throughout the day, but I really enjoy keeping an eye on things, especially when it's, going up, not so much when it's going down.
Have you found that to help you while you're in the trade?
You see, the thing is, I have the trade plan, right, that I follow. So I'm not entirely sure why it is that I do that so much, that I'm watching it. I would say probably at least once an hour. I'll open it up on my phone and take a look. All right, how are my positions doing right now? Because it's each hour, it's not going to go enough to to trigger an exit signal.
Right.
So, but it's something that I enjoy doing, is just seeing, all right, how have the numbers changed in the past hour?
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're better than me. And this is one of those things where you have to know thyself. Like, I can't do that. It makes me an emotional basket case. I used to do it. I will say that I used to look at the market, like you said, every hour, but it made me more emotional and more susceptible. I can't even say that word. It made me I was more likely to change my trade plan when I did that. So now I do the stick my head in the sand kind of method, where I just look at it once, maybe twice. I look at it in the morning, then I look at it right before the market closes, because that's when I'm usually placing my trades. And other than that, I ignore it, because like Friday last week, when the market was down really bad, I told Peter, I was like, I was hanging out with my kids all day, and then I came back, my account was gutted, and I was like, the reason was because when I looked at the charts in the morning, the market was down heavy. I was like, I don't even have time to deal with this right now. I was like, I'm going to take the day off and hang out with my kids. I think I recorded that. Yeah. Anyway, you'll hear about that anyway. So I just couldn't deal with it. I was like, I knew if I looked at the market and it was going down, it would have made me emotional, and I probably would have closed my trades prematurely. So I just had to tune out. So yeah, you're better there. Go ahead.
So that brings up, the maybe what it is now it's just habit. But previously I was doing it to train myself emotionally, because I was trading in a relatively small margin account, but I have a Roth IRA that's quite a bit bigger, and then a traditional IRA that is 15 times bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And I have all of those available for trading options, and I was just very nervous with trading with those big of numbers. So I'm watching this thing, training myself emotionally to deal with the swings. So that made it so that I was more comfortable with trading the options in I had option positions open throughout most of 2017, that the positions were larger than my other two accounts put together. And watching those go up and down, that was quite a ride. but with 2017, the market was it was really on a tear. So I actually did very well with those. And with the volatility going the way that it is now, those larger accounts, I'm not playing with the volatility on those. I've got the small margin account that, I'll play with volatility. I'm not going to lose a tremendous amount of money with it. The big accounts, I don't want to play with that volatility.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, slow and steady gains over time. I do not like the huge up and down swings. And I will talk about that later when I go over my account. That was something I'm still learning about myself. Some other gurus or traders, I'm not a guru, I don't consider myself one, but some other trainers, they can deal with that and be okay with it. I just can't. I cannot stand that. Some people, they can watch their account swing up and down 40, 50%, and it's no big deal. I'm like, no. If mine swings any more than 5%, in the wrong direction, I get annoyed. I get really crabby. So anyway, next comment somebody made, Susan said, congrats, Rick, on overcoming fear. Thanks for sharing with us your thoughts. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Susan, for that. And I agree. I want to thank you for your time, and unless if anybody else has any other questions, go ahead and type them in. But I do, before I forget, want to thank Rick for sharing his story. It's not just a success story, but also feedback for Peter and I, because we honestly don't know if what we're teaching is helping you unless you let us know. And it doesn't have to be purely trading related. Some people think, oh, just because I'm not doubling my account, it's not a success. I'm like, well, no. Rick just said he's lost 25 pounds. His relationships are better with his wife and kids. Like, that's the kind of stuff we really want to know. If something we've said has helped you out, please let us know. Give us that feedback. And it's both the other way too. If something we can do better, also let us know. But we definitely need to know if the things we're saying, the things we're doing are helping you, because sometimes I get discouraged, like, man, I'm sitting here showing all this life-changing material, but I don't think it's changing lives. And then I get an email. It's always right when I have a down day, I get an email like the one Rick sent. I'm like, ooh, thanks. I needed that. So I needed that reminder. Okay. People are behind the scenes implementing and reading these books. We just don't know about it. So thanks, Rick.
Well, thank you, Travis and Peter. Thanks for giving me this venue to tell the story to the community here. And I hope that, like you say, at the end of every call, I hope that this brought value to all of you.
Yeah, I know it brought value to me. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, and Caroline said the same thing. She said she's impressed with your personal and trading journey so far. So Nadia says, thanks, Rick. It definitely helped. So yeah, these are the stories that everyone, to include Travis and I love hearing about them, because it gives us, I was telling that to Travis when I emailed him, I'm like, stories like yours give me a lot of energy to keep doing trading, even though my account is down right now. So, because I know it's going to come back. So,
well, thank you.
Yep, that is true. So, Rick, unless you have something else, I think we can, unless anybody else, if you all okay with moving on, we'll end probably close to an hour. I'll just kind of touch on the market a little bit, since we've weaved in and out of it with Rick's story. If you have anything else, Rick, do you have anything else, Rick?
I do not. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll mute you. Well, no, before I mute you, I will say one last thing, though. Rick did share something that we all struggle with. He was sharing this journey with one of his friends, and of course, his friend was skeptical. But that's also a common thing. So if you all have dealt with that, it's common for family and friends to not get it, to be a little cautious. So I'm curious, did your friend ever come around?
Well, I was trying to keep the email short, so I didn't exactly explain it right. It's not that he was skeptical of, I told him about a homework assignment that she had given us about practicing patience, like in traffic or that sort of a thing a while back. And so I tell him about you and about this mentorship program, and he was just thought it was crazy. What does that have to do with trading options, right? And then his comment is like, if you're a better person, you're a better trader. He's like, well, that's true of anything. If you're a better person, you'll be a better poker player also. Like, he equates options trading to gambling. Yeah, and that's what he remains unconvinced on.
Yeah, he will be unconvinced for a while if he has that mindset. Even when I don't know. From my experience, I've seen people still remain unconvinced. Even when I show them my results, they're like, oh, that's luck. I'm like, oh, okay. We agree to disagree.
And that's what it is. I'm not trying to convince him that it isn't. I have tried to, and he remains unconvinced, and I'm not trying to bring him around. I'm just trying to live as an example, right? If I get to a point where I'm taking my account and I'm making all kinds of money, up, down, sideways markets, then, maybe it isn't just that I'm lucky. Yeah, all right, so I made a bunch of money in 2017. I made a bunch of money in January. Right, but everybody was, because the market was going up.
Yeah.
Right, but it's going to turn around and you start losing money. You know what? I did lose some, but I follow the 210 formula, so it's not a lot that I've lost.
That's true.
Oh, and I'm still up for the year, just not up as much as I was at the end of January.
Yeah, and the market is down for the year, so you are beating the market.
Yeah.
So the thing is if I can do that consistently year over year, that's when I say, all right, look, this isn't just gambling, because how many poker players or blackjack players win consistently year over year?
Yeah, that is true. That's true. And I'm curious. I know it sounded woo-woo when I talked about, hey, practice patience standing in the grocery line of traffic. It should help you with your trading. Was that theory correct? I mean, it's been correct in my life, but did you find it does help you overall? It transfers over to trading?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, at the point that you had given us that assignment, I mean, I was already on this journey of personal growth, right? It was well after July. So it was just another thing that, yeah, okay, this makes sense. I am going to practice this. And it was like the next day, you know, this buddy of mine works with me, and we carpool, and we got into some construction traffic, and it's like, hey, this is a perfect time to practice this. And I explained it to him, and, you know, that's how that all went down.
Okay. Now that makes sense now.
Right. Right. And but yes, I was in a position where I could receive that message that you were trying to give on practicing patience. And I think that it did help.
Yeah, that is true. You will become a better trader when you become a better person. Yeah. When you can show patience in traffic, then you will definitely show patience with your wayward trades. So, well, with that, Rick, thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you again. I really love this because we don't have a chance to unmute people all the time. So I really enjoy talking to you all. So again, thanks for your time, Rick.
Fantastic. And, feel free to unmute me anytime. I'd be happy to talk.
For sure. We'll do that. All right. With that, let me mute Rick, and we will move on here just to the general market. I am sure.